I'm 28 and I'm over being single. I want to share my life with somebody and I'm almost willing to try anything to find myself a decent guy.
Hi, I'm Theo, former advice vlogger and long-term relationshipper living in Cape Town, South Africa. This is a podcast about finding love in a world that can sometimes be pretty lonely. We're on a journey to figure out what it actually takes these days to find that special somebody. Hey y'all! I'm saying that because we do have American listeners, by the way, Kim. Did you know that?
Yeah, and we've got a few other listeners from around the world.
Yes, so shout out to all of you. I can't believe we have people from India who are listening to us.
Germany, our little map's been lit up, so thanks so much for tuning in. It's been incredible.
And it's amazing, Kim, to have you back. I was really worried that you were going to run off with a surfer dude, but you're here, you're safe. I mean, none of us feel that safe at the moment in South Africa.
Yeah, this is true.
Just a warning, this is going to be a bit of a heavy episode, but as part of our mission to empower women, we feel it's obviously relevant to bring up the topic right now, which is #AmINext. So we'll be discussing what's been happening in South Africa, and then we'll get into John's answer, which we're all dying to know, and then we may squeeze in some Bali tea, which is like the Bali gossip.
Okay,
for those of us who are not millennials and don't understand the term tea as drama. And then we'll talk about some tips for safe dating because we're feeling a bit vulnerable, as we mentioned, and I think that it's important for us to go through those.
So we just back from the protest.
Yeah, it was quite something. Thousands upon thousands of women and men stood outside of Parliament to say enough is enough. I'm going to play you a few clips from the protest just so that you can get a feel of the vibe and what was said, including a little bit of the speech that Cyril Ramaphosa, who is our president, said. So we'll just play that and then we'll discuss further.
Viva to women, viva! Viva! We will not let our pussies be their plaything. It's not a toy.
We want protection. I want to ask the good men, help us. Walk with us to the bus stops. Wait for us at the taxi ranks.
As a government, we heighten the protection and the defense and the safety of the women of our nation. I agree with you that indeed enough is enough.
So this has been a persistent problem that's been facing our society over the last couple of years, maybe even 10 years, 20 years.
I think forever we've always been oppressed, but yes.
Yeah, there's been massive oppression in South Africa, but particularly over the last month of August, which was Women's Month, a lot of news articles poured in with countless headlines about missing women, women being raped, children being kidnapped, and women being murdered. This has really been a catalyst that South Africa's needed to raise massive local and global awareness on this problem. I think one of the major tipping points from this came from the Nene incident.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Nene was a UCT student who got raped and murdered after going to the post office, and that obviously struck a huge nerve with everyone in South Africa. We can't speak for every South African woman because, of course, everyone's story is different, but I think it'll be quite cool to just sit here and discuss how we're feeling at this point in time. How do you feel after coming back from Bali, which was obviously quite a safe zen place, and then being thrown back into Cape Town where shit is hitting the fan?
Wow, I'm feeling incredibly overwhelmed. I think coming from Bali, usually the penny drops when I come back home, but the lead has really hit the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling a little bit afraid. Sometimes I feel like I want to run away, but I think we can't run from the problem. We've got to actually help the people that can't leave the problem and, be that pillar of support and strength and try to look at the positives that we can create out of this and hopefully change.
Yeah, like that protest for me it felt positive, even though it came off a very negative thing. It felt positive and it felt like something was happening and we were all standing together and it was a moment. I personally am feeling rather tired. I just think that it is exhausting to constantly be looking behind you, worrying whether or not someone's going to just come and steal your phone or push you to the ground or rape you or murder you. I'm sorry it's gotten that hectic. But it's just like it's happening everywhere. I mean, we went to school with someone who was murdered about less than a month ago.
That was Megan Kramer, right?
Yeah. And it just feels like it's getting so close to home, and it's really, really uncomfortable and sad. But I also don't want to lose hope. There has got to be some positive change coming for us, because I don't know, I'm a positive person, and I'm hoping that, I don't know, I feel hopeless, but I'm also hopeful.
I think as South African women, you know, it's actually just as South Africans in general, it's our responsibility. This country is our responsibility. We have to create change. We cannot just up and leave.
Yeah.
We've got to stand here amongst the masses and try to create change, however that might be, whether it's going to the protest, signing petitions. There's a whole lot of actionable ways that you can actually create change in this country.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be drastic either. I mean, if it's being accountable for what is said in a group of friends, for example, if you're at a braai and somebody says something sexist, say, like, that's sexist, you know. In the workplace, if you're feeling like you're being steamrolled because you're a woman, say, stop steamrolling me.
Actually, it's similar experiences in the workplace where I feel like I sometimes have to dumb myself down because I'm a woman. Yeah. And then because I'm in such a male type of environment, and that is completely unacceptable in today's modern day world. And I think people often out feminists, but feminism is actually about rallying for equal rights and equal opportunities, and that I'm happy to be a feminist if that's what feminism is about. It's about equal opportunity and not gender-based discrimination.
Yeah, I think another thing that we can do is obviously stand with other women who do need our support. Look after your friends. Look out for somebody who looks like they need help. You know, walk with someone.
Totally, walk with them to the bus stop if you can. Just make sure the women around you, if they're walking solo or you see they might need a bit of help after dark or even during the day nowadays, I mean, just be that pillar of support and just have a keen eye open for that.
And I mean, if you don't like going to big public spaces and crowds scare you, then you can have a voice on social media.
If you cannot attend a protest, at least voice it on your social media. It's such a powerful platform. I've seen some global influencers come into the South African AmINext hashtag, and I think it's done us the world of good to raise global awareness.
So yeah, it's our duty to stand together, and we've just got to keep doing it for ourselves and for our sisters and for our future daughters, you know? Woohoo! In a more personal capacity, what can you do? Because as a woman, you're not safe here, clearly. It has obviously been making us all brainstorm around how do we make ourselves even more safe than we are. Just by the way, if you don't live in South Africa, you probably don't know this, but we are constantly on high alert. We don't even realize what we're doing half the time. We're getting in that car, we're locking the door, we're checking that nobody is following us. We are
always your handbag underneath your armpit to protect it.
Yes, we always have pepper spray on us. We never walk alone. We never walk anywhere at night. We do so much. We're constantly looking behind our backs. But there is always more that you can do. And I wish it wasn't like this, but
it is the reality.
Yeah. So things like self-defense classes.
Like YouTube it. Like your elbow is the strongest part. Like if you're close enough to someone, smash it in their throat. That's your strongest part of your body.
Yeah.
I mean, I read that on a share.
I would just always go straight for the penis, but
grab him by the balls.
Yeah. But yeah, the elbow sounds good, and I think I'm going to go to a self-defense class. I think our work is actually setting something up like that, which I'm excited for. And then there's investing in self-defense devices. I might invest in this thing called the Namalo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's basically this little device that has GPS and a SIM card in it, and you press the SOS button and it sends a private ambulance and a private team of police officers, which might not necessarily be SAPs, but they could be related to SAPs, but like a private wing of them. So there are people that are actually out there in Cape Town doing the Lord's work.
And I think the reason we have to do private is because our public system is under so much pressure. Yes. We actually need innovation in the private sector.
Yeah. So having one of those is nifty because, okay, cool, we have our phones and we can press the SOS button, but what if they take our phones? Or what if we don't want to go out with our phone because we feel vulnerable with our phone because that's a target? So, God, it sounds crazy, doesn't it, when we speak about this?
I think it's very foreign for people who don't live in South Africa to try understand what we go through on a daily basis. I did kind of encounter this when I was in Bali and Dubai.
Yeah.
I could not get my head around a woman who was sitting next to me and her 3 daughters, and how safe and willingly she lets them roam free. And it's just such a foreign concept to us.
Yeah. And then, of course, there is sharing your live location and all of that on Uber, and if you want to do Find My Friends or WhatsApp, share my location, whatever. So, yeah, there are a bunch of options out there, and find yours, because we all want everyone to be safe, for God's sake. We've had enough. Oh, we've had enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
All right, so let's just breathe in and out and travel to Bali for a moment. Tell us any dates, hookups, deep and meaningful connections we should know about. Go on.
Okay, so Bali was incredible. I was supposed to go there for 10 days. And I ended up extending my trip 3 times.
Yeah, I think you were there for like a month, right?
I was there for a month.
Yeah.
So I went to Bali with my friend Amy from the USA. She lives there 4 months of the year.
Apparently she has a dating tip for us, which we might play at the end. So tell me, what else happened?
Listen, I was keen to just see what Bumble had, what Tinder had, and...
what the beach had, because I'm sure there's a lot of people on the beach that are just willing to go on dates.
The kind of dream guy I was anticipating to find in Bali was... wearing those linen Jesus pants, man bun in his hair, maybe did a bit of yoga and surfing. And I ended up finding a Portuguese guy that had a beautiful man bun.
Yes.
He was a surfer. And we had a Portuguese fling in Bali, and it was amazing.
A Portuguese fling? Like what? Did you do like Portuguese sex moves, or what are we talking about?
Oh, sadly, I did not have sex, but... we definitely shared a lot of activities together, including surfing and going on a scooter and just exploring Canggu and Seminyak. And yeah, it was just like 5 days of like holiday romance.
Nice. And did he treat you well?
Guys, something that I've got to tell you about Bali is everyone goes to Bali and extends their trip, which I did. I'm a victim of this, but everyone makes their dollars last as long as possible.
It's almost like a no man's land. Totally. You're going there for your sabbatical and just staying there for as long as you can, and you've got no money and no income.
So going Dutch on the bill is rare. Generally, I was paying the full bill because most of these guys can't afford anything.
Yeah.
So
were you like this Miss Moneybags from South Africa on her rand?
Totally. And then when you're converting rand to Balinese
it's
rupees,
not terrible,
not too bad.
But it's not like you're coming in with your dollars.
Not with the pound, babe.
Yeah, let's talk pound.
love those pound boys in Bali. Couldn't find one.
So you ended up funding a whole bunch of beach bums.
Totally. I funded a whole lot of beach bums, and I cut myself in the coral. I bailed in Uluwatu on the coral reef, trying to do some surfing.
Oh, I got an injury from surfing in Bali as well. Some woman surfed over me on my coccyx. It was very painful.
Yeah, because you lived in Bali for a month as well.
Absolute bliss.
So I wanted to bring that dating tip into the pod because I have practiced this dating tip and it's worked for me flawlessly. And I think it's going to help everyone out there that wants to practice results-driven dating.
KPIs. Oh wait, is this not your tip?
Oh no, this is actually going to be on a voice.
It's your friend.
Yeah, it's my friend Amy.
Okay.
Since I've got to Bali, I've been on Tinder, I've been on Bumble.
She's not doing it right.
Yeah, so my friend Amy, she's a little bit more advanced than me when it comes to dating.
I was trying to explain to Kimmy that the best way to weed out the garbage and the trash is the first thing you say is, listen, it would be very nice to get to know you and chat over lunch or dinner. If you're interested, please send me your WhatsApp and let's make a plan.
Okay, but like, I just want to meet up with him for a coffee. Like, why would I want to go for lunch or dinner with him? And how does it weed someone out?
It weeds somebody out because if they can't afford to take you to lunch or dinner and are not interested in that, then they're interested in just the quick pick-up, hookup, and that's not what you want, okay?
Because I ain't no Tinderella.
No, but you're acting like a Tinderella if you don't do Tinder right. And there are plenty of gentlemen that still would take you to lunch and dinner and want to get to know you, and not just over a coffee, and not be a cheap ass. And I'm not into cheap asses.
So I used this dating tip again when I came to Joburg, because I felt like after my trip I needed to decompress, get over the jet lag, and also I felt like I needed a guy to pay for my lunch because I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed by being a sugar mama. So I found this wonderful guy on Tinder. Mm-hmm. Actually, fascinating story. This guy is looking for the one.
Okay.
He has a 2-date rule, and he's also a Mr. South Africa ex-contestant, the game runner-up.
Wow, you guys must have been a match made in heaven.
You know, I wasn't expecting much. This guy, it was probably the best date I've been on. I won't lie to you. It was the best date, and I've got...
The best date from Pretty Lonely. That's quite something, hey?
Yeah, guys,
we need to put a photo up on our social media of this person.
He's actually keen to come on the show. At a later stage, we can invite him on. One of the most valuable things he said he does for every single date, he does a live review after date one. Mm-hmm. And
does he post it on social media as like a live?
No, he actually sends it to you as constructive criticism to help you out in your dating world. So I wanted to share with you a live review that he sent me.
Oh my god, he reviewed you?
Totally.
Oh my god, this is crazy.
So this is my live review.
Yeah, I thought our date went really well as well. Like, I really enjoyed spending time with you and getting to know you better. I think the only reservation I had was, like, I know that short of long distance, like, it would be very difficult to have anything meaningful. And but like, you completely, how do I say this? Like, a whole lot more authentic than a lot of girls out there. And like, the date with you was really refreshing. And like, you really, like, the essence of you is like a really strong, beautiful woman that, like, I really respect. So it was great.
I feel like that was a good review. That was pretty good, but it was also realistic.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially with the long distance scenario.
Yeah. Yet again, long distance. Okay, now you're going to have to tell us what happened with John. Is there going to be this long distance romance or not?
So John travelled the world, it seems. I've been trying to reach him at Burning Man, and we shared a few voice notes, and he did reveal to me that we were kind of in friendship land.
Oh no!
I will be closing the door on this because long distance, me, London and Cape Town don't really, stand the long term.
Oh, this traffic noise.
Oh my god. I feel like investing in a friend is a long-term situation. Investing in a relationship with him at this point in time is not worth the risk. And I think he's an amazing person, writing poems. I mean, you can continue on that for a few years. You don't have, with no expectation.
Yeah, that poem he wrote you. I mean, we all thought that was it, But anyway, can we hear the voice note just out of interest, just to hear, like, his side? I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing it.
So yeah, let's go into that voice note that he sent me, just to give you guys an insight into what the conversation was about.
Listen, the only answer I can give you is unfortunately deep, but I've never met anyone in my life that we had such a common way of thinking. Something you should probably avoid when looking for a sexual partner. I think if it was a distant friendship, it's possible. If it's a close friendship, it's just absolutely not possible.
Well, I guess we're going to have to move swiftly on. I mean, look, when one door closes, another door opens, and we all know that there is a plethora, is that a good word?
I love the word plethora.
Plethora of men on the horizon, so let's not lose hope.
I don't believe in finding the one. I think you create the one.
That's a really interesting concept. I quite like it, I must admit. That's true, because, I mean, you find someone, you're like, he's great, we vibe, but I need to create you into the one. I need to create you and mold you into someone who's going to really work for me,
totally.
Right? And the same thing happens with the other partner. Kind of do this dance, and I don't know, this coffee's got into my head.
No, I think
I'm off the alcohol. I've got my coffee here today, so bear with me. I'm going a bit crazy. So let's end off with top tips for safe dating, because that's super important right now. So we compiled 5, and I'm going to let you start with the first one, Kim.
Okay, so we really believe that you should set up Find My Friend on your phone, if you've got an iPhone, or share a WhatsApp live location with a friend, And if you
I mean, that's a bit drastic. Friends watching you go from, I don't know, like
bar to bar.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, if you are worried, you may as well.
Rather be safe than sorry.
Exactly.
Link yourself up to a friend. So it's important just to tell a friend that you are going on a date, or tell your mum or a sister, or tell someone.
Yeah. And have an excuse at the ready or an exit plan. So if you're really not feeling it, or you're suddenly you get that feeling in your stomach where you're like, fuck, this is not right. Have something like, for example, I don't know, pick up your phone and you go, oh my God, are you okay? And then run off. I
actually had this in Bali. I went on a date with a Spanish guy and he was very Latino and way too short for me.
Was this in between the Portuguese thing?
Yeah. And I got into this date. We were at Mexicola, this very festive like taqueria. And I got there and I literally, as I saw him, I just wanted to get out of that room. And I messaged my friend Amy. I'm like, Amy, come save me.
Yeah, so that's another thing. That could be your exit plan, that you message a friend and you just say, come save me. And then the friend arrives and could be like, hey, oh my God, how are you? Run away.
Totally, ninja bomb. And the next one is to meet in a public space. Yeah.
It's very obvious, but I mean, some people might go...
Guys always try their luck with, hey, why don't you come to me? I'll make dinner for you.
Yes, okay. Or let's go to the movies, which actually isn't that public.
Try and make your first encounter a public space. It's quite busy. Day, lunch, breakfast is kind of a good vibe.
Yeah, and then use an Uber. Don't let him fetch you. He doesn't need to know where you live. It's the first date, for God's sake.
Yeah. And then set up your boundaries ahead of time. And don't be afraid to say no. You don't owe him anything.
Or her anything.
Totally.
If you're going on a date with her and she picks up the bill and you're like, shit, I owe her X because of that. You don't.
You don't even owe her left time.
Yeah. It's super, super important to know what you're comfortable with and to stick to that.
It's a form of self-love, and saying no is a form of you practicing self-love.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge that it can be hard sometimes, because I feel like we are conditioned in a way to not say no and to say yes to things because it just feels like it's easy. I don't know. Do you feel that sometimes where you're almost like it's like peer pressure or something and you end up...
But then you feel guilty for doing that.
Yeah.
And it's actually to your self-detriment.
Yes.
And you self-sabotaging yourself.
It's people who are afraid of confrontation as well. Like someone like... I'm not amazing with confrontation. I'm getting a little better as I get older, but being afraid to say no because you don't know how you're going to offend the other person, that's a big problem. You do need to realize that you got to put yourself first.
Because you say yes at what expense to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just thought I'd put that out there too, because it's not always easy to say no, but you got to do it, guys. You just got to do it. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough, yeah.
Enough is enough. Thanks so much for listening. Oh, flip. We forgot about the next POA.
So our next plan of action is... drumroll.
What is it going to be, Kim? Come on.
So I was thinking maybe what we do is we go to a fitness studio and... generally you partner up with a friend, so I'm going to partner up with you, or potentially we could partner up with strangers if you're comfortable with that. And we network the room on a healthy, active kind of way.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I'm all for a little bit of sweating in the morning.
Totally, and we'll bring our sound recorder with us.
Yeah, so you can hear it all. You can hear us dying in the background and Kim trying to flirt with someone while he's putting the treadmill on 15 or whatever, which is very, very fast. We've really enjoyed this episode. I hope you have as well.
Leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment. Let us know how you're feeling. It's a hectic time, but we're all here for each other. Follow us on Instagram. We're at prettylonely_pod.
If you'd like to send us anything in longer format, whether it's a story, whether it's tips and cues,
or if you have a challenge for Kim, or as we're calling it, a POA, totally. Send it on.
Cool. So drop us an email. It's prettylonely.show@gmail.com. That's prettylonely.show@gmail.com.
And we'll put it in the show notes as well, in case you're a bit ADD and can't remember things.
Yeah.
Which is like me. So I'm speaking on behalf of me. Okay. Well, lots of love and keep safe and all of that jazz. Bye.
Bye.